When dinosaurs roamed the world, they would have been a sight to behold. Massive and magnificent creatures from a long time past. Here are the top 15 most epic dinosaurs. Number 15. The Pachycephalosaurus. While dinosaurs didn't have any hair, the bald-looking head of the Pachycephalosaurus makes it really stand out in a crowd. Translated to thick-headed lizard in English, this dino lived across what is now North America between 66 and 70 million years ago. Growing to about 5 meters long and about 5.5 meters tall and weighing about 1 ton, it was a herbivore that generally feasted on leaves, seeds, and fruits, using its serrated blade-like teeth. However, what makes it stand apart is the massive dome on its head. Measuring in at about 25 centimeters thick, it was essentially a thick mass of solid bone growth, and it's likely that this was used to fight off others of the same species by headbutting into each other. When you consider how big these dinos were, we'd bet that a knock from one of them would have really hurt. Number 14. The Giganotosaurus. As you might expect from its name, the Giganotosaurus was, well, gigantic. Living between 97 and 100 million years ago across modern-day South America, it was about 13 meters long and weighed in at about 14 tons. Its name translates to giant southern lizard in English, and it's not hard to see why. After all, its large, powerful legs and thin, pointed tail allow it to be very quick and agile while running, with its max speed believed to be about 50 kilometers an hour. It used this speed to chase down large herbivores in packs, and once caught, they would clamp down on their prey with their massive 20-centimeter-long serrated teeth. To top this off, just its head alone was believed to be larger than the height of many human adults, thus ensuring that very little could escape its jaws. So we think you'd agree that the Giganotosaurus was truly terrifying. Number 13. The Mapusaurus. While a pack of wolves may be pretty scary, a pack of Mapusaurus were infinitely scarier. Found throughout modern-day Chile and Argentina about 95 million years ago, it came in at a length of about 12 meters and a weight of about 5 tons. Yet while most dinos of this size would hunt solo, the Mapusaurus would organize in packs in order to take down much larger prey. When you further consider that they had large, bone-crushing teeth and were able to run quite fast, it's not hard to see why they were a true menace millions of years ago. Number 12. The Velociraptor. If you've ever watched Jurassic Park, then chances are you've heard of the Velociraptor. However, it turns out that the film lied to you. That's because the dinosaurs in the film were not modeled after real velociraptors, but after a much larger species, known as the Deinonychus antiropus. However, we'd say the real Velociraptor was certainly a lot cooler. In many respects, it looked like a modern-day bird, as it was the approximate size of a turkey and was covered in feathers. Instead of hunting in packs, they would simply go solo and chase down relatively small dinosaurs in order to sustain themselves. They would take down their prey by using their curved 8-centimeter claws to slash, jab, and disembowel them, and they would often opt to ambush them rather than chase them down. So while the Velociraptor may have been small, it certainly was deadly. Number 11. The Nigersaurus. While there are tons of dinosaurs out there with strong teeth, few have quite as many as the Nigersaurus. Living about 110 million years ago in what is now the Sahara Desert, they were first found in the country of Niger in Central Africa, hence its name. It had a delicate skull and extremely wide mouth lined with teeth especially adapted for grazing on plants that lay close to the ground. And while this may not sound all that impressive, what makes the Nigersaurus stand apart is the fact that its wide mouth housed more than 500 teeth that would replace themselves on a 14-day cycle. So as such, this dinosaur would have had a really tough time if it were to visit a dino dentist. Number 10. The Ankylosaurus. As far as dinosaurs go, the Ankylosaurus was an absolute unit. Often compared to an army tank or bus, the Ankylosaurus was a heavily armored dinosaur with a large club-like tail that could wreck nearly anything in its path. Now, this dinosaur lived around 68 to 66 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period and roamed across what is now the western United States and Canada. Coming in at a length of 6.25 meters, a height of 1.7 meters, and a width of about 1.5 meters, it was a force to be reckoned with, yet by most accounts it was not a ferocious dinosaur. Rather, it was a benign herbivore. Yet when necessary, it could defend itself against larger carnivores. Almost completely covered with thick armor consisting of massive knobs and oval plates of bone, it would fend off attackers by slashing at them with its 3-meter-long club tail. This must have been enough to make predators back off, and thus it shouldn't come as a surprise that in English, its name translates rather fittingly to Destroyer of Shins. Regardless, it goes without saying that trying to get a piece out of this dino would be near impossible. Number 9. The Stegosaurus. There are a few dinosaurs out there that are quite as iconic as the Stegosaurus. Living during the Jurassic period between 150 and 155 million years ago, they generally lived in western North America and Asia. Growing to a length of up to 9 meters and a weight of about 4 tons, it was essentially the size of a small school bus. While its size was massive, its brain certainly wasn't, as it was the approximate size of a walnut. However, given the fact that its primary concerns were to eat ferns and run from predators, its brain power didn't have to be all that great. Yet what really sets this dinosaur apart are the spikes along its back. Known as scutes, there were a total of 17 in 2 alternating rows. While it's still not clear exactly what they were used for, the blood vessels within the plates suggest that they could regulate the dinosaur's temperature, while their size also means that they were probably used by males to attract mates. Spikes have also been found on the end of its flexible tail, which pointed outward from the sides and thus was likely used to attack carnivores that got too close. And given that some carnivores have been found with Stegosaurus spikes still impaled within their bones, we'd guess that this dino could deal some serious damage. We're constantly adding more people to the Top 5's production team to bring you all the best content. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on and hit the like button. Number 8. The Troodon. While every dinosaur had a brain of some sort, the Troodon stands apart for being the Einstein of its day. That's because out of all the dinosaurs out there, it holds the record for having the largest brain-to-size ratio out there. Living about 76 million years ago during the Cretaceous period, it was pretty lanky in stature, coming in at about 3.4 meters tall, while weighing just 50 kilograms. However, some of its weight certainly got distributed to its brain, as according to one analysis, Troodon had an encephalization quotient several times of that of most other dinosaurs. Yet despite its relatively high brain power, it was reportedly only about as smart as a modern-day chicken, thus proving that most dinosaurs weren't all that bright. Regardless, the Troodon has some impressive tools at its disposal that put it a step ahead of most carnivores. Most notably, the eyes of the Troodon were not only larger than normal, but were set towards the front rather than the side of this dinosaur's face, which indicate that it most likely possessed advanced binocular vision that could allow it to zoom in on small prey. It also preferred to hunt at night rather than the daytime, allowing it to sneak up on prey more easily. So as far as dinosaurs go, few can hunt quite as effectively as the Troodon. Number 7. The Spinosaurus. While dinos such as the T-Rex and Allosaurus may get a lot more recognition, the Spinosaurus sure gave both of them a run for their money. Living around 97 to 112 million years ago during the Cretaceous period, most fossils of this species have been found in northern Africa, and by all accounts it was absolutely gigantic. Its name translates to spine lizard in English, which is fitting because the spine extended into a massive sail on its back, with this sail often measuring in at over 2 meters long. However, this sail was small in comparison to the rest of its body. After all, with a length of about 16 meters and a weight of over 7 tons, this predator was absolutely massive. Now, by most accounts, it spent the majority of its time in the water, where much like a crocodile, it would hunt down everything from large fish to smaller dinosaurs. As such, it was very similar to the modern crocodile, yet was far larger and could walk around on 2 feet, thus terrorizing everything that came near it. In terms of the sail on its back, most archaeologists agree that it was used to either warn off potential predators or attract mates. Yet due to its size, we highly doubt that many dinosaurs were willing to mess with it. Regardless, we think you'd agree that this would be the last dinosaur you'd want to encounter while going for a swim. Number 6. The Triceratops. Few dinosaurs are as recognizable as the Triceratops, as its massive skull and long horns made it quite a match for most other dinosaurs. Now, the Triceratops roamed across what is now North America about 66 million years ago. Its name translates to three-horned face in English, although this is rather ironic since the Triceratops only had 2 genuine horns. with the third being a small nub made of the same material that's found in human fingernails. Therefore, it wouldn't have been much use in a fight. Regardless, the Triceratops certainly didn't try to get in anyone's way, as it was an herbivore that lived in herds. However, that didn't mean that it wasn't subject to some pretty scary predators, as it was often forced to fend off against T-Rex attacks. However, what really makes the Triceratops stand apart is the large flap that it had across its skull. That's because most archaeologists think that it had not just one, but 3 different purposes. The first and most basic is that it was used to signal other members of the herd, which due to its size is not surprising. It's also likely that its frill was flushed pink by the numerous blood vessels under its surface, and thus it may have signaled sexual availability or warned of the approach of a hungry predator. As a final note, it may even have some sort of temperature regulation function, as it could help the dino either warm up or cool off depending on the situation. So it's clear to say that the Triceratops certainly was a cool dinosaur. Number 5. The Argentinosaurus. Out of all the dinosaurs out there, none are quite as massive as the Argentinosaurus. Holding the title of being the largest land dinosaur, it came in at a length of about 30 to 40 meters and a weight of about 50 to 100 tons. It lived during the late Cretaceous period in what is now Argentina, hence its very creative name, the Argentinosaurus. It was an herbivore that was covered in light armor and stood apart thanks to its massive neck. Nobody knows whether it was able to hold its neck vertically as would a giraffe or horizontally, so it could forage for leaves. In either case, it survived off a diet of leaves, and it would take about 40 years to reach its adult size. Beyond its physical size, its eggs would also be extremely large, as it is likely that its eggs came in at a diameter of 30 centimeters, making its eggs some of the largest in history. Rather than live as a solitary dinosaur, this species would travel in herds in order to protect itself from predators. And while it may seem crazy that any carnivore would be able to take it down, it turns out that it was preyed upon by packs of Gigantosauruses and Mapusauruses, which due to their large size were able to take down smaller Argentinosaurus in a team effort. These were likely successful because the Argentinosaurus would be forced to fight rather than run away, as its max speed of 8 kilometers per hour made them unable to outrun practically every dinosaur out there. Thus, while the Argentinosaurus may have been imposing, it certainly wasn't impossible to take one down. Number 4. The Ichthyosaurus. While the Argentinosaurus may have been the biggest dino on land, the king of the oceans was the Ichthyosaurus. First emerging about 250 million years ago during the Triassic period, they were large aquatic carnivores that put most of today's aquatic life to shame. Their name rather fittingly translates to aquatic lizard in English, and while their early skeletons look a lot like lizards with fins, over their 160 million year period on Earth, they evolved so that they eventually looked like massive fish. Their heads were long and narrow, and their jaws were aligned with thin, sharp teeth that were used to catch prey such as fish and squid. They would seek out their prey with their massive eyes, which at a length of between 26 and 27 centimeters were larger than every other modern animal. Their size varied massively from species to species, for while some came in at less than a meter long, there were others that boasted a length of as much as 26 meters. These larger species were a true menace in the water, as due to their massive tails they could accelerate to more than 35 kilometers an hour. In tandem, these features managed to place these predators at the top of the aquatic food chain. However, their reign couldn't last forever. That's because they went extinct about 90 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. And while archaeologists are not sure as to exactly why this happened, the leading theory is that severe climate change altered the way they lived into temperatures that they couldn't adapt to. Regardless, ever since the finding of the first ichthyosaur fossil more than 300 years ago, this species has captivated scientists from around the world. Number 3. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Of all the dinosaurs out there, none are quite as iconic as the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Translating to tyrant lizard in English, this massive dino existed right before the extinction of the dinosaurs about 66 million years ago, and it grew to about 12 meters in length, 4 meters in height, and likely weighed about 5.5 tons. Living in what is now Western North America, it was an alpha predator within its habitat, and was able to assume its role thanks to its impressive physical characteristics. More specifically, despite its size, its strong thighs and powerful tail counterbalanced its extremely large head, and thus was able to run at max speeds between 17 and 40 kilometers an hour. This allowed it to chase down its prey quite easily, which it would then chomp down on with its impressive set of teeth. Measuring in at as much as 30 centimeters in length, these teeth were both serrated and wide, and were arranged in such a way that they could withstand the force of a struggling dinosaur. These teeth were so good at their job that they could take down 230 kilograms of flesh in a single bite, ensuring that their prey could not get away. Generally speaking, this prey consisted of benign herbivores such as the Edmontosaurus and Triceratops, and due to their relatively small size, they were no match for the T-Rex. Interestingly enough, many experts also believe that the T-Rex's arms may have played a large role in how it interacted in its environment. That's because while many internet memes ridicule T-Rex arms for being tiny, they were in fact quite large, coming in at up to 1 meter long and being able to carry up to 180 kilograms. Therefore, when all of these are considered in tandem, it's not hard to see why the T-Rex is one of the world's most well-respected dinosaurs. Number 2. The Allosaurus. While the T-Rex may get a lot of credit for being the most ferocious dinosaur out there, many archaeologists think that the Allosaurus may be more deserving of the title. Found around the world in places as diverse as Tanzania, Utah, and Siberia, the Allosaurus lived between 145 and 155 million years ago, during the late Jurassic era. By far one of the most common fossils out there, these dinos came in at a length of up to 13 meters, heights of up to 5 meters, and weights of about 1.5 tons. It would take about 15 years for it to reach its adult size, and a further 15 or so until it died, and it was able to keep up its strong physique by preying on herbivores. Its prey of choice were both medium-sized, long-necked herbivores and perhaps more notably, the stegosaurus. Fossil evidence suggests that these species would often battle it out until one came out victorious, and generally speaking, the Allosaurus would win these tussles. Given their physical stats, it's not hard to see why. After all, its two powerful hind limbs and large tails allowed it to chase down and kill its prey quite easily, which it would do so thanks to its strong set of teeth. These were sharp and serrated at the edges, ensuring that the dinosaurs caught in its grasp would not get away. And there is some evidence that suggests that the Allosaurus would attack its prey by using its head like a hatchet, repeatedly slashing with an open mouth so as to impale its victims. So, we think it's fair to say that few dinosaurs are willing to mess with this massive meat-eating machine. Watch our Animals playlist for more top 15 videos about animals. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best animal-related videos.